What's good, everyone? Hope y'all's week is going well. This week's video is on the long-awaited second installment to Worst Performances by Referee. The title just speaks for itself. However, additional note and disclaimer, some of these refs are not bad. They may have many good fights they officiated that year or much longer, and unfortunately, their bad day on the job just happened to be a fight on TV. Having a terrible performance is one thing, and that should be acknowledged, but consistency over a long stretch shouldn't be ignored. With that being said, let's start the video. It's the end of 2013. Froch is coming off his legacy series against Mikel Kessler to successfully defend his title. To end the year off, he was up against widely touted contender George Groves, who was on a hot streak after his widely publicized victory over James DeGale, which was a big fight between two national stars that the winner will go forward to contender status. This would be Froch's third defense of the title. Groves would catch Froch off guard by his youthful energy, sharpness, and speed, flooring the champion to the canvas. This would be the most damage he's ever taken since the Jermaine Taylor fight.
He paid the penalty, there's a right hand again!
And Froch looks unsteady in his eyes. He was hit after the bell there. What a sensational start! And Froch looks shaky as he sits down.
The underdog Groves would continue to dazzle early on, stacking up an early lead. Groves, in unfamiliar grounds, would begin to fade, where Froch, who is an absolute workhorse, began to chip away. Groves would prove his toughness by winning the exchange to back Froch off in the 6th round.
That was a terrific shot. There's more, another one,
and 3 more. And this is big stuff from George Groves. Huge right hands.
He has outfought Karl Froch in that burst. He completely outfought him.
As if that's possible. And Froch walks on to more and more.
He can't miss with the right hand. There it goes again. He can't miss. He shouldn't throw anything else.
This pattern would continue to a lesser extent, but Groves was still in the fight, scoring and defending himself. After some great exchanges in the 9th round, Groves getting the better of them, Froch would find his moment and catch Groves. Groves would fend off Froch, and as they were going toe-to-toe while Groves was pressing forward, throwing back, the ref stops the fight. 2 of the 3 judges scored the fight 78-73.
Knockout punches.
And they're still coming from Groves. And still Froch is standing tall, and then lands a right hand of his own, and Groves has wobbled.
I think Froch needs to finish it here.
He really does. Groves is in trouble. He's taken another one and another. And Howard Foster has stopped it. Wow, that is going to be controversial.
This is what y'all came for. It's 2026. Alexander Usyk had cleaned out the division, fought everyone of his era. The only guy remaining doesn't really deserve a shot, nor has earned it through any outlet. Like the heavyweight champs before him in the old days, they will have matchups like these.
Lewis fought everyone who was out there. It's not Lewis's fault that he was so much better than they were, but he was a real fighting champion.
The opponent would be as decorated as the guy we are about to talk about.
One of the bums of the month, who wasn't a bum, was the great Pittsburgh fighter, Billy Conn.
Well, I feel fine. I expect it to be a great fight.
Conn was a 175-pound light heavyweight champion, moving up to challenge the unbeatable heavyweight champion. Nobody thought he could win. Maybe his mother.
But back then, when these high-end title or non-title matchups were going on, the fans loved it. As it was new, it got the general public talking and exploring the possibilities.
After 12 rounds, Conn was on the verge of dethroning the champ. He had followed his plan to hit and run. But Lewis was about to make good on his once famous prediction that Conn could run, but he couldn't hide.
Lewis, he saw his opening, he got it, he finished Conn off, and Conn's defeated.
But today's day and age, this matchup by casual audiences was completely roasted. Rico was given absolutely no chance. People who plain don't like Usyk or Turkey calling this a mismatch and itching for reasons to put down Saudi presence in the sport. No one was saying jack when Vegas had heavy influence to where every prize fighter had stupid exclusive deals to only fight in Vegas at venues tied to those casinos. And these venues are not big to where they can charge ridiculous prices where the real fans that invested in these guys' early fights, these guys' pay-per-views, can't even afford the tickets except for these guys who don't even know who is fighting. There's no reason why a fight of Mayweather-Pacquiao caliber is at a tiny venue like the MGM Grand Garden Arena and not in a stadium for everyone and the real fans to enjoy. But anyways, a little sidetracked here. If there was anyone who was available who deserved that crack, it would be Rico. He's an all-time great kickboxer. I'm not talking about a guy who did kickboxing in a mom and pop organization that is not on the world stage. He fought the best of the best on the highest of stages. Man was champ for 11 years straight, 26 title defenses, longest win streak, most wins in title bouts. Homeboy is like the Joe Louis of kickboxing. His name is beside the greats like Masato, Ernesto Hus, Badahari, which he beat, and other guys who could have easily became a title holder in boxing. And history just keeps on repeating itself. Kickboxers and Muay Thai guys who come into the sport, and the smooth-brained fans think less of them like they are not real boxers. Who you think holds the record as the fastest to ever become world champion? A decorated Muay Thai champion who already had a full career in Muay Thai, became the WBC champion in 3 fights. It would have been in 2 if a WBC representative actually flew out to Thailand for Mung Surin's debut, who was against a contender who was scheduled to fight the champion. Martial arts is constantly evolving. I think a boxer would learn and benefit a lot from other arts where he can legally implement it in his own game.
My first time at the UFC, when I did strength and conditioning, I was like, man, I'm not getting nothing out of it. It's easy. And it was like, well, it's not meant to break you. You're gonna see the difference. And I'm just like, man, I'm not sore, the next day when I'm doing strength and conditioning here. But like gradually you start seeing the results, and it's a science behind it.
Yes.
Boxing is the only sport where they are closed off from that and completely ignorant of new ideas to improve oneself. The level of ignorance is equivalent to how much hate Bruce Lee got from the martial arts community for mixing archaic arts together, modifying it, and incorporating it with the art of Western boxing. Okay, alright. The fight itself. As history once again repeats itself, with those on their high horse surprised, Usyk had an insane amount of trouble with Rico, where onlookers had Rico winning the fight, coming into the final stretch, pulling it off, and becoming a 2-time heavyweight champion. Usyk, desperate, began to pick it up in the 10th round.
Coming to life, or so it seems here in the 10th.
And in the 11th round, the final 30 seconds, Usyk would find his moment and land an uppercut, sending Rico to the canvas. Rico would make it up rather quickly, however his mouthpiece was out. The ref will put a pause to the fight. In the final 10 seconds, he would do a horrible job of not rushing the corner to put in the mouthguard, all while allowing the corner to burn time and coach Rico.
What a fantastic shot that one from Usyk. Oh, they're going to give him time to put the mouthpiece back in. Oh, he looks unsteady. Usyk's complaining about it. And he should be.
So right here, the ref messed up big time, and in a lot of cases, he's going to find something to equal the playing field, but I don't think anyone was expecting this. Usyk would let his hands go. Rico is actually handling it quite well, even trying to time Usyk, but not much you can do because he is getting swarmed with activity. The bell would ring and the ref would wave off the fight just moments after the bell rung.
Some valuable time wasted there. And now Usyk's got in the corner.
This is for the heavyweight title. This is the championship rounds. Rico was in the fight, if not winning. At this point, he is entitled to get the benefit of the doubt and leniency by the ref to survive and fight it out. He wasn't given that, making this stoppage horrible, even more so since the round was at an end. Understandable if there was more than a minute in the round left. You don't want to be the guy that gets a fighter hurt, but also don't want to be the guy that shits the bed stopping it too early. It's a hard thing to balance, but in this case, this was a very easy decision to make compared to Frank Cappuccino in Gatti Ward 1.
Frank Cappuccino's gonna let him keep going.
I would have got if I stopped that fight. They'd have ruined me. Oh, Jesus, Frank Cappuccino, he really shitted up the place,
Believe it or not, Lawrence Cole has reffed some good fights. Unfortunately, it's few and far between in his televised performances.
Well, Paulie, you said make it rough.
Gotta make it rough, but Broner will answer the rough stuff.
You could say his track record is on par with Kirk Cousins' record on primetime television. And unfortunately, once more, this fight was on primetime. Takayama has a huge reputation for his toe-to-toe style, high volume, his toughness and chin. After a lot of back and forth, Soto would finally have his moment where he can unload and outthrow Takayama by a wide margin, putting him in the defensive very briefly, just for Takayama to resume throwing back. Soto, by this point, even though he's still throwing, he has nothing on his punches. He's visibly punched out, while Takayama is pressing him forward and pushing Soto in the corner to mount his counter offense. Before Takayama was given a chance to mount his offense on the punched out Soto, Lawrence Cole stops the fight.
He punches when the referee steps in and stops it. Oh my word! You gotta let a warrior go out on his shield. That is unbelievable.
In protest, Takayama goes in the middle of the ring and shadow boxes in front of him with the spectators giving him an ovation.
As Carl said, the last fight of his career, you have got to let him try and finish this fight.
Restart the fight! Takayama says, fire it back up! Bring on Soto again! Takayama getting the love of the Mexican fans here. 70,000 strong cheering for a foreign fighter.
That's one of the worst stoppages I've seen in a while.
This fight here was supposed to have been a super fight in Japan. Koki Kameda, since the record-breaking 2009 fight, couldn't find the right guy domestically to dance with till 2012. Kohei Kono would become the WBA Super Flyweight champion. He will lose the title in his first defense, but a year and a half later, he would defy the odds and regain the title, stopping Denkao-san in the 8th round. The super fight is now on, with Koki on the pathway to become Japan's first 4-division champion. However, the JBC was not on board, as the JBC unlawfully revoked the licenses of the Kameda family coming to 2014. This derailed what would have been a massive domestic fight, because the JBC had always had it in for the family since that day in 2007. These actions forced the family to fight in America or retire. While Kameda goes forward having this fight in America, the Kameda family sues the JBC of the abuse of power and the loss of income from their fights. This wouldn't be resolved till 2022. The Kameda family wins the lawsuit, and the JBC is forced to fork over a lump sum amount of money in damages. For those wondering why there's randomly 2 Japanese guys fighting on an undercard in Chicago, this is the reason why. I think they made a horrible decision signing to PBC. I think they would have been more suited going to HBO, as HBO was beginning to highlight the lower weight classes and sign Roman Gonzalez at the end of 2014, early 2015.
Akira Yaegachi, the Japanese flyweight star, lost his championship in a war with Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, then was knocked out again 3 months later. But he never backs off and never makes excuses.
For 2 years, I was waiting for this fight to happen, and the referee completely ruined what could have been a classic, because both guys' styles were so much complementary of each other. You were guaranteed a great fight. If the JBC already hadn't ruined it enough, The ref really put this in a coffin. He wasn't allowing these guys to fight it out. He was so aggressive for no reason.
They're both trying to referee. The referees telling the guys to shut up.
All right, this ref is just, it's too much for him. What is he doing? He's taking another point for a low blow. Did you even see that in real time?
He would take a point off from Kameda for a low blow in the third round, despite not really declaring what is considered low because Kono's trunks are sitting up way too high. And he hasn't said a word to Kono about his punches just below the belt. Fourth round being the only round where both guys were able to do what they wanted without the ref getting in the middle of it. The seventh round will be a mess. Both guys are fighting in the phone booth, making good exchanges till the ref breaks them up 30 seconds into it, puts a pause to the fight, talks to the commission, comes back and threatens a disqualification without even clarifying what will lead to a DQ.
We are seeing overly punitive example of referee.
2 rounds later in the ninth, Kono will get a point taken for Koki to get a foot in the fight, followed up with him almost dropping Kono to win the round. Too little too soon, he wasn't able to make up from the mishaps from the early rounds and lose by decision. Kameda didn't really blame the ref and just said his stamina wasn't there and it's time to retire to walk away from boxing. Harvey Dock had an amazing track record coming into the 2020s where he would start off with a good show officiating Lopez versus Camboso. I didn't really like his performance in the Plant versus Durrell fight. Durrell was fighting incredibly dirty and he allowed Durrell to complain and not respect his presence, to just roughhouse and do whatever, but was very quick to talk to Plant and put an end to his celebration. He will be very consistent for years to come till 2024. The highly anticipated matchup between amateur rivals Devin Haney against Ryan Garcia. Haney from the opening bell with aggressive holding. It was so aggressive and blatant that any other situation he would have received a hard warning.
So it's not a surprise to see him go to it early in this fight.
It's a knock on Ryan Garcia. Yes, he has speed. Yes, he has power. Yes, he has popularity.
During a dire moment in the fight when Garcia had dropped Haney, Haney is holding on Garcia. Doc is aggressively trying to split the two up with no success. Garcia will get a punch off, which would immediately result in a point deduction.
Can Garcia do it? Haney holding on for dear life. Punching on the break. What a shame.
Garcia did in fact break the rules hitting on the break. However, he was never given a warning, nor Haney's aggressive holding, ignoring the ref's instructions, was never acknowledged. After 2 minutes of holding and not allowing the break during what could be a turning point in the fight, Doc would finally warn Haney in the final 30 seconds. However, it was a light one. To combat Haney's holding, Garcia would begin to roughhouse Haney each time, which Garcia would be the one to get a stern warning. Garcia would drop Haney again, which almost led to the same thing with the first knockdown, with Doc warning but not addressing Haney, who is not breaking.
Haney again, stumbling forward.
Which I don't know why Doc is not saying anything about that. Haney at this point doesn't respect him. Doc clearly doesn't have the strength to break these two up, and Haney is completely disrespecting him by taking advantage of that. It's really a testament how much fighters respected Mills Lane, a ref who officiated heavyweight fights with an iron fist despite his stature. No matter the situation, when they heard break, they stopped. When they thought they were being slick or trying to play stupid, he would check them.
Extremely long. That was the payback. And that was a straight payback. It is a festival of fouls.
You knock that shit off, all right? Both of you. Come on, let's go.
Doc would finally put a pause to the fight to address the holding, but he would just warn both fighters instead of Haney, who is the one initiating the holds and refusing to break. Doc did warn earlier in the fight about the punches to the back, which early on that's fine because this is a new development, but later in the fight, to his credit, it was a good call not issuing any warnings because Ryan is clearly turning his back, which he would tell him to stop doing that.
See that? Look, there you go. That's what I was telling you earlier, Todd. That's exactly what Haney should be doing. Just aiming and ripping that body right there. Garcia's giving it to you.
Steve Willis, from what I've seen, has one of the best track records in the sport for quite some time. Amazing situational awareness, and has been on point when it comes to making the right call. This fight here, Willis was completely out of character, mostly because it came out of nowhere from what was flawless officiating by Willis. He was even and firm to both guys. He showed no favoritism, especially when Davis was complaining on LeBron James level infractions, with him telling Davis to fight. This would all come crashing down after Roach's best round in the fight. He would take the momentum in the 8th and follow through in the 9th, taking the fight to Davis. Davis would get hit with a glancing sharp right from Roach, which would prompt Davis to blink uncontrollably, then to take a knee to the canvas, turn his back, and go to the corner. This should have been a knockdown, and Willis does not make the call. To make matters worse, Davis's corner comes up on the ring apron with a towel, making contact with Davis before Willis gave any approval. This should have been a disqualification right there, but given the fact that this is a high-stakes fight, a point deduction should have been made. The commentators were absolutely shocked, more so by the referee's call. To make matters worse, in the following round, the bell has already rung for the 10th, and Davis's back is turned. His cornerman once again breaks the rules by going on the ring apron 5 seconds when the round is already in play to wipe Davis off. Right there, that should be a point deduction or a disqualification. Any physical contact with a fighter once the round is in play without the ref's instructions is strictly prohibited. Now, I understand if the bell rung and the cornerman is still in the corner and haven't left yet. There's plenty of cases of that, but this isn't it. He exits and 5 seconds later comes back and makes contact with the fighter. Now, I had Roach winning out in the rounds to secure a draw when I was watching the fight live, which this fight ended up being a draw, and despite the knockout not being called or any point deductions, that costed Roach his biggest win. This was during the second cruiserweight tournament, and it was off to a horrible start in the second round as the two would get tied up. Glowacki hits Briedis in the back of the head, which prompted Briedis to hit him with an elbow, sending Glowacki to the canvas. From Robert Byrd's inspection, Glowacki seemed to be okay while on the ground, which you can say he's looking for the DQ. Byrd instructed him to get up, which he did quite easily. Both fighters are responsible for damaging illegal blows, which I think would offset a potential DQ from Briedis. However, the ref did make the right decision of a point deduction from Briedis for the elbow and giving both fighters a hard warning for fighting dirty. So with that being said, I think that was a fair call. The events that would take place seconds later would be a mess. Briedis would find an opening 15 seconds later and drop Glowacki. He would make the count, the bell would ring, but the fight would continue after the bell, which Byrd was completely oblivious that the round had ended. A full toe-to-toe brawl taking place despite the bell ringing aggressively to alert Byrd to step in. By the time Byrd would step in, Briedis will catch Glowacki overcommitting and set up a perfect counter, flooring him to the canvas.
He's got him! He's got him! He's come back and got him! With the right hand, he's touched down. He is up. What a fight this is! Tremendous shot and the end of what a round. And he's wobbled again, Glowacki. The bell's gone. They're carrying on. Come on, referee. I can hear it. Get in there. He's gone down. The bell's gone. He's gone down after the bell. What is occurring in there? What is occurring?
You could make a case to have this as a no contest at this point. However, I think it's doubtful given that this is a tournament. Glowacki would recover enough to launch a counter-offensive to land big and almost drop Briedis to the canvas for Briedis to immediately jump right back firing, for both going toe-to-toe, for Briedis to win the exchanges, sending Glowacki to the canvas for the knockout win.
He was really wobbled in the first disc, and he's wobbled now. This is an absolute slugfest. Bring it on, bring it on. He's going, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. face down. What a roar from the Latvian crowd. He's up on Saturday legs, Glowacki. This time he has.
It's really a toss-up between Germany and Texas when it comes to officiating. One of the hardest places as an outsider / B-side to come out with the victory. Lamont Brewster was making his third defense of the title against Krasniki in Germany. This was an exciting fight, a lot of back and forth from the two, but Krasniki was up on all judges' scorecards coming into the 8th round. He was 5 rounds up on one, 3 rounds up on the other. Only one judge had it close at 75-76. The online scoring had Krasniki winning every round. Brewster is going to need something big coming to the final quarter of the fight. He would get that towards the end of the 8th round after having a good rally in the 8th.
Vielleicht der Gewinn der Weltmeisterschaft. Es ist alles möglich. Liegt.
Brewster would find his mark, flooring Krasniki. The referee would do one of the slowest counts, helping Krasniki get up. He would get up at 15 seconds. Brewster's corner was absolutely fuming at the ref.
In den letzten 10 Sekunden und K.O. geht. Und das war ein unglaublich schwerer Treffer mit der linken von Brewster. Und das Schlimmste, dass Krasniki dann noch mit dem Hinterkopf aufschlägt auf dem Ringboden. Und das ist das Allerschlimmste. Und das war's. Oder? Er hat bis 10 gezählt. Der Kampf ist wieder freigegeben und hat...
All that help from the ref wouldn't work as Krasniki was concussed from that blow from Brewster, to where the next clear blow that landed ended the fight right there. But the ref is making it his mission to not stop the fight, where the corner is literally on the ring apron, which should have prompted the stoppage right then and there.
Sensationell! Eine Rechte, das ist es! Also, wenn sich von dieser Rechten nochmal erholt, Luan Krasniki, dann ist ein ganz großer. War hinter den Seilen. Das könnte ihn seine Gesundheit kosten, wenn es hier noch weitergeht. Und das war's.
There's nothing more satisfying than seeing a fighter who's getting blatantly screwed over by the entire system that is rigged against him to fail, and he pulls off his only path to victory, ruining the supposed plans from the powers to be. And on top of that, this is the worst performances by a ref. For more installments, be sure to like, share, and if you're new, subscribe to Patreon for Patreon-backed projects and early access. I'm Wolf Sancho, and I'm out.